Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. There's a conflict that has begun between this Latino rapper named Fat Joe and the Black Americans who call themselves FBA. And I think that it is a conflict that's worth having because it's time for Black Americans to take a stand about the culture and who we are as a people. Now, I don't identify as FBA, but we are the same lineage. And I do approve them taking a stand about our lineage, our legacy, and our culture. We have people coming over here telling us we don't have culture, and then they go right on and start copying everything they see Black Americans do. That is insulting. I don't know how the disrespect for Black Americans got started. I think it has to do with the way America has portrayed us and the trade-off that America has with these immigrants when they come here. The system tells them that the best way to succeed in America is to develop the anti-Blackness that white Americans have for Black people. But hold on, wait a minute. These people bring their anti-Blackness with them because they have this in their own countries. So they just bring it with them to America and become in lockstep with white Americans' anti-Blackness. But Black Americans own the culture. We have the culture that everybody wants to participate in. So they jump in and try to get into our culture. Then you have self-hating Black people who give them the license to use the N-word. So they start throwing the N-word around. These Black immigrants use the N-word more than most Black Americans because most of us don't go around using that word every day. Every other word that comes out of our mouth is the N-word. Some Black people don't use it at all. But here you have them jumping in front of white people. They don't love anything better than to get in these, especially these Latinos. They don't like anything better than to jump in a white person's face and start using the N-word. And white people love it. They all love it because they're all operating on an outlier, anti-civilized basis. And that is what I call it. So you have this rapper named Fat Joe who lives in New York City. And he uses the N-word all the time. He knows full and doggone well what he is. He knows that he is a Puerto Rican, not an American descendant of slavery. And he knows using a racial slur is insulting. And yet he does it all the time. He's being disrespectful in your face. And when you say anything about it, he gets mad. This man is 54 years old. At what point do you stop doing childish things? So the FBA are right to call it out. Black Americans are also going to have to take a stand with these Black people who think that they are getting closer and being friendly with these other races of people by telling them they can use the N-word. If you listen closely enough, you will hear some of these Black people saying to their non-Black friends, oh yeah, you can use the N-word. You can use the N-word. We all the same. We all the same. No, we are not. We're not the same. We are not. So this Latino rapper, Fat Joe, is now all up in his feelings and mad and going all over the place, spewing his anger towards the FBA people because they're telling him, you're not a Black American. You don't need to be used the N-word. And also, Puerto Ricans didn't create rap music. And I believe that the FBA are perfectly in their rights to draw the line. You have to draw the line somewhere. So Fat Joe rips foundational Black Americans, FBA, calls them broke and Black racist. He actually called them broke N-words. That's how angry he was. What it sounds like they're doing is asking him to stay out of Black Americans' business and spaces. And if that's not what they're asking him to do, that's what they should be asking him to do. And you're going to get mad because people want you to stay out of their business? Fat Joe recently stopped by Matt Hoffel's My Expert Opinion podcast. During one point in the conversation, Fat Joe discussed foundational Black American groups, calling them radical racists. Per the organization's website, foundational Black Americans are descendants of enslaved Black people who built the United States from scratch. In Joe's opinion, FBA groups exclude Black people across the diaspora, including Caribbeans and Afro-Latinos. Well, they have their own lineage. They're not a part of this particular lineage. It's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, don't want to hear a Black guy that's not down with them, right? Fat Joe tells Hoffa. So their job is to criticize anybody who doesn't look like them, who ain't Black American. The FBA, whoever these broke N-words is, I'm just keeping it a buck. And their mission is to attack everyone on Twitter. Fat Joe proceeds to describe the organization's leader, and I guess he's talking about Tariq Nasheed because he is the founder of the FBA. He tells Matt Hoffa, "Do you see this?" And he uses a derogatory term to describe him. Who runs them? Yo, man, you gotta be effing kidding me. So they're trying to change the narrative because they're not from New York. So they're telling a whole other story. Naturally, Joe's comments received backlash on social media. While many agreed with his long-standing claim on hip-hop, others discredited the multiple platinum entertainer. Fat Joe is a participant of hip-hop, not a creator. And as far as New York is concerned, New York is just one state that Black Americans live in. We live all over this country. Black Americans have created several genres of music, from the South to the Midwest to the North to the West. So New York is just one other place that Black Americans created a genre of music. What these immigrants need to do is tell us what they created in their homeland or what they created without anything to do with Black Americans. That's what we need to know. What did you create in America that didn't have anything to do with Black American? Don't come on the Black American platform and start claiming something that you didn't create. That's what I say. What's interesting about hip hop is that when it came out as rap music and everybody was saying it was unconventional, it was degenerate, it was antisocial, it was all of those negative things that they could come up with to name things that they don't like, especially things that were created by Black people. When it was negative, when it was being put down, it was Black music. Black people invented it. But now that it has become a global phenomenon, now everybody wants to claim they created it or they helped create it. And so for that reason alone, Black people should always push back against these people who claim they created it. Eminem was a good rapper, but white people didn't create it. Fat Joe might be a good rapper for all I know, but Hispanics didn't create it. Jamaicans didn't create it, even though there is a Jamaican DJ that was there at the forefront. But Black people were rapping way back in the days of Pig Meat Markham and before. So for people to come over here and try to claim they created it, it's just, people feeding their own egos. But when it was bad, it was all Black. But now that it has become something that the world has never really seen before, now everybody wants it. So FBA has to stay on the job and continue to gatekeep and let these people say whatever they want to say, because what they say amounts to absolutely nothing. And as far as Fat Joe, he needs to stop using the N-word. He is not a Black American. He needs to be respectful as he would want people to respect his people. It's insulting. It's derogatory. And even if other Black people are saying it, he needs to stop because he's not Black. He's not of the lineage. He needs to respect that and stay in his lane. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.